We helped Mommy fill out our census form. But why? Because everybody counts in the census form.
That's right, the U.S. Census, the most harmless-seeming exercise, could now become a tool to unmake American democracy even more than it's already been unmaked. Because while the census is supposed to count people, some people want to make certain people not count at all. If there's one thing we can still count on in 2018, it's numbers, right? There's 1, there's 2, there's twen, and fiftor. Did I just say fiftor? Now, not even numbers are safe from this administration, specifically the numbers of the U.S. Census, our once-in-a-decade demographic temperature taker that's coming up in 2020. The census is so critical to a functional government that the Bureau runs these cheesy ads every decade to try to get people to fill it out.
In 80 million mailboxes across the USA, the census is coming to help us plan the way.
So fill it out. It's easy, safe, confidential. It can't be used against you. It's quite essential.
The census is real. Ain't nothing to be scared of. We need a head count so everybody can be cared for.
They're pandering so hard. At this rate, we can guess what the Census Bureau's 2020 ads are going to look like.
Sup fam, make sure you are woke on the U.S. Census. It is lit AF, so make sure it is one of your squad goals.
The truth is, the census is a survey of America, and traditionally a mundane event. Just watch this informational video from the 16th census back in 1940 that explains it.
The busy but unspectacular United States Census, created by Article 1 of the U.S. Constitution, its population figures since 1790 have determined the number of delegates from each state in the House of Representatives.
I love how that video calls the census busy but unspectacular, which is the best way to describe anything that's offensively inoffensive, like the Antiques Roadshow. Like, why? But also, why not? On top of determining the number of representatives states get in Congress, census data helps allocate $600 billion in federal funding for things like transportation and education. And it helps us learn a lot about ourselves as Americans.
According to the Census Bureau, college-educated women are waiting even longer to have children.
Love is in the air. But according to the U.S. Census Bureau, about 116 million people in the United States are living single.
The Census Bureau says fewer people are marrying and many are waiting longer.
Why does the Census Bureau sound like my mom's "when am I gonna be a grandma" routine, only with stats? According to the U.S. Census Bureau, 65% of your eggs have dried up, and if you want children, it is now or never. And the 2020 census could have a huge impact on whether our democracy will even be a democracy anymore. Because as we've established, nothing is safe under Trump, except for the McDonald's down the street from the White House. That place is going to be fine. Last May, an important administration shakeup in particular probably flew under your radar.
The Washington Post reports the U.S. Census Director suddenly resigned. John Thompson is his name. He served as director since 2013. His departure comes as the Census Bureau faces budget shortages before the 2020 population count.
That's right. The Census Director was one of the zillion resignations since Trump became president. And I bet you didn't know about it since he resigned on the same day former FBI Director James Comey was fired. Not that a distraction from the Census Bureau is necessary. After all, it's so bland, I bet you also didn't know that Thompson's predecessor was just a saltine with the salt scraped off. He had a great tenure. And census officials are usually nonpartisan. That is, until this administration.
Today we learned who President Trump wants to put in charge of the 2020 census. He's the author of this book. It's titled Redistricting and Representation, Why Competitive Elections Are Bad for America.
His name is Thomas Brunel. He's never worked in government, and he believes gerrymandering is a good thing. Again, gerrymandering is where district lines are drawn in insane ways to lump people of color and other Democrat-leaning voters into the same districts in order to minimize their representational power. It's the reason a bunch of legislatures are overly skewed Republican, even in swing states. Brunel helped the Republican-controlled Congress of North Carolina gerrymander that state in 2011, a move the Supreme Court struck down because they said the lines were primarily drawn based on race, which is unconstitutional. So appointing this partisan gerrymandering fiend is alarming because in addition to deciding how much federal funding goes where, census data is also used to determine how legislative and congressional districts are drawn.
You don't put redistricting experts in charge of the census. The census is there to get a fair and accurate account of how many people are in every state, in every precinct, in every census block. If there's one thing that should be sacred right now, it should be the census.
Oh, you want sacred? The president threatens nuclear war on Twitter in between bites of ketchup-covered steak. Nothing is sacred. Yes, the US Census could be used as a political tool, because if you misrepresent the population, you don't have to represent that population. The census already undercounts minority communities, but now with the possibility of Captain Gerrymander at the helm and not enough money to do the census, whole communities could be erased.
So if the census has no money, you're going to see a further lessening of representation, a further lessening of minorities, low-income people counting in society. So it's one of those under-the-radar things that has a big impact on democracy.
So come 2020, the census might not have enough money, and the results could hasten gerrymandering. And the third way the census might screw people over, the Justice Department is asking to add one additional question: citizenship status, which is chilling. Adding a citizenship question means undocumented immigrants could be scared off from even answering the census, and the states and districts that they live in would therefore get less funding and representation. And even if they're confident enough to answer a question about their legal status, what if the census helps ICE locate and round up undocumented people? Sound crazy? Well, it's happened before. In 1942, census data was used to find Japanese people and relocate them into internment camps. But what about the multiracial song of census harmony?
In 80 million mailboxes across the USA, the census is coming to lock you all away.
Did they just say to lock you all away? So, the census has been used to do horrible things to vulnerable communities in the past. But when done right, it helps us understand who the hell we are as a nation and what we need to move forward. Let's not weaponize something that's supposed to be basic and inoffensive, like you don't give the Antiques Roadshow PCP. That'd be a disaster. Good TV though. Hey everyone, thanks for watching Newsbroke. I'm Francesca Fiorentini. Follow me on Twitter at FrannyFio, and also follow Newsbroke on Facebook and subscribe to us on YouTube. And maybe while you're at it, follow the Commerce Secretary, Wilbur Ross, at Secretary Ross, because he has ultimate decision as to whether the gerrymandering king, Brunel, is even confirmed to lead up the US Census. And we don't want that, right? So send him a little gift or something. Also share this video and make sure everyone knows that the US Census is coming up and we need to fill it out, and it's gonna be important. Anyway, see you next week.